Welcome back to the Guru's Voice Report. So, training camp is underway. We're about a week or so in. So, I have my 5-question series continuing. There's one left to take care of, which I've kind of beaten like a dead horse. But we'll get to that with the next video or so. Just wanted to chime in on a few things. Number one of which is the apparent resurgence of Sam Hurd. Apparently he is doing pretty well and could sneak into the mix, maybe even more so ahead of Miles Austin. So just I'm going to keep a closer eye on that. Lots, and the talk of camp once again is Felix Jones and his speed and his ability. It was very interesting watching on YouTube the video with Mortensen talking to Mick in regards to Jones, and you know, the good thing was the inside connections that Jerry has with his alma mater, which was kind of gave him the leg up on Jones perhaps being better than McFadden, who got all the hype. So that was rather interesting. And then the other thing was the whole explosiveness to the offense and just adding him. And then I was watching NFL Network and they were talking about the Titans yesterday, and Falk was mentioning the presence of Chris Johnson, you know, as a running back, adding explosiveness to that offense. So that was something that was, you know, it's interesting. Most people think when you're adding explosiveness to an offense, you're adding a speedy receiver, a guy that can get deep, keep the safeties at bay. But you know, you can also get that out of the running game, and I think having Felix in there certainly does that. And you know, Mick was talking about the 1-yard runs. A lot of our runs were 1-yard runs. Well, a lot of those are 1-yard runs, but it's not necessarily all the line's fault. The system that's in place right now, and this is what I want to get across. The system that's in place right now is very much, the running game is very much like the old style Dallas Cowboys. Big offensive linemen, you know, not much movement in space, just basically impose your physicality on these guys. You know, no pulling and all that stuff that that might have been more under the Sperano scheme. And honestly, I think the best guy for that is Choice, as far as the every down type back. You watch him run, and you know, I watched his style, and it's very Emmett-ish. You know, like I said before, and I'll say it again, nobody's Emmett, but he's slithery, he sees the hole, he's north-south, and I think for this system, Barber very much wants to take everything outside. And that was the knock on him, that's why he lasted to the 4th round. He likes to take everything outside, but he's not that kind of back. He's you know, he's the kind of back that needs to destroy people. So, you know, don't be surprised if Barber is almost the third wheel on this. I mean, you know, it's great to have him as a third wheel. You know, most teams would give to have him as a first wheel, and I think in a different scheme he would certainly be a first wheel, but in this one we need Jones' speed out there, and for those outside runs he can take it to the house. And then you got Choice, who I just think is just naturally more suited to this system. So just keep an eye on that. I think that's something that's being overlooked right now that shouldn't be. The big talk at camp is so far Martellus Bennett. Those who've subscribed and have seen my videos know I am big on the Bennett bandwagon. I think he is maybe the second best tight end in the division, outside of his own teammate and Jason Witten. I know those are big words, but he can block. Everybody knew he could block, being at A&M, and you know, his just. I actually think he looks more natural in route running and just his body running routes than even Roy Williams, who is an actual wide receiver. Call me crazy, but he just looks so smooth and fluid out there. I think there's going to be big things out of him. And going with what Mortensen was talking about two tight end offense, which helps a running game and also helps, the passing game right down the seams. You got two guys down the seams, the safeties. What are they going to do? Are they going to take care of those guys, or are they going to, help over the top with Roy Williams? So, and then if they move the safeties up, then you can get behind them. And Williams has got good straight line speed. He can go deep. I mean, he's not super duper slow. He's not necessarily Keyshawn. He can get down the field. So it's going to be very interesting. I think we're being overlooked. And as the preseason goes on, maybe that'll change a little bit. But I kind of like this under the radar overlooking of Dallas at the moment. Another thing, wanted to mention another thing is I watch NFL Network all the time, and I just can't believe Mr. Michael Lombardi, who he's very insightful, but I can't understand his hatred of the Cowboys and his love fest with the Eagles. He mentioned the Giants as a top 10 offense in the NFL. Now, I don't know if I'm the one that break this to him, but they did lose Derek Ward, who was a 1,000-yard rusher. They did lose Amani Toomer. They did lose Plaxico Burress. And once Burress went down, for the rest of the year, that offense was not the same without him being there. Now, relying on rookies, Nix, Barden, the guys they've drafted, Manningham, who I really liked, they're not a top 10 offense. They can run the ball, but once they lost Burress, everybody, basically sold out on the running game, and their offense wasn't the same down the stretch. So they're not top 10, and don't be surprised. Just don't be surprised if this team falls down a little bit. The Eagles, they lost a lot of guys, but that offense is looking explosive. I've been keeping tabs on them. It looks like Deshaun Jackson could be in for a huge year this year. So I'm not ready to rule them out. I just think they have a little more moxie offensively than the Giants do, and they could outscore teams, and I don't see the Giants being able to do that at all. So just I just don't understand where they're coming from. As a matter of fact, I'm actually, to wrap up here, I'm actually a little bit, I won't say worried about the Redskins, but I just have a feeling that Hainsworth is going to make that defense really, really, really tough. So I see that defense actually becoming really good, and if Campbell, this is the first time being 2 years in the same system, so I'm a little wary of those guys. If their offensive line can do anything, they may make a little bit of noise this year and might bite one of the Cowboys, Eagles, or Giants in the butt towards the end of the year, because we're all battling each other. So they could be a huge spoiler. I don't think necessarily they're playoff worthy, but I think they could certainly spoil one of the three team seasons. So keep that in mind. That's about it. Follow me on Twitter. I'm on Boys Guru on Twitter. I tend to ping a lot of these NFL guys that are covering teams. There's a few of them that I really like that are pretty insightful. So if you want to get a daily dose of these videos and some of the thoughts, hit me up there. Otherwise, I'll see you with my next 5 questions video that should be up in another couple days. Peace.